Prime Minister Narendra Modi today met billionaire businessman Elon Musk, US National Security Advisor Michael Waltz, and Indian origin entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy ahead of his bilateral with US President Donald Trump. He is headed straight to White House, and that's where Nikunj Garg joins us live. Our senior managing editor is reporting live from there. Nikunj, minutes before Prime Minister Modi's arrival at the White House, we are seeing that crucial executive order which has been signed by Donald Trump with regards to reciprocal tariff. What are you picking up from the Indian side? Can there be some negotiations on those lines?
Well, Maria, with President Trump, we all know that a negotiation is always possible. And possibly this is the build-up to a more hard ground, more hardwired kind of negotiating stance from the American side. Remember, their whole idea is that the countries that they perceive to be in some kind of unfair advantage. Now, that's a matter of perception. Look, Indians can perceive that there is absolutely no advantage that accrues them while conducting this kind of trade. Americans can, on the contrary, think that there is some greater amount of advantage that the Indians have in this entire situation, and therefore the whole idea of tariffs, whole idea of reciprocal tariffs. But the sense that I get from talking to the Indian contingent here, Indian delegation here, members of the Indian embassy here, ranking diplomats, that look, tariffs is just one side of the story. And it's a very small, nano side of the story. The story about India-US partnership is actually very, very large. The entire gamut of this relationship is humongous. It would be extremely unfair for anybody, including the long-term observers of this exercise, to restrict or confine or even to view this entire exercise from the prism of tariffs. Of course, when you have trade surpluses, of course, when you have large trading partners, there would be points of view. And remember, even if the tariffs are imposed, at the end of the day, this would be exercise of a few $1 million. Now, the entire relationship between India and United States of America can surely not be allowed to be held hostage to those hundreds of $1 million. Now, in the interim period, what the Indians would obviously want is to keep their eyes firmly focused on their end goal. And what's their end goal? In the Washington, D.C., you have to be alive to the proposition that D.C. is a capital which can actually ensure, under any set of circumstances, high-end tech transfer for the betterment of Indian population, a large swath of it, and also a large inflow of capital, even if it's not directly coming from Washington, D.C., but a nod from this capital would ensure that the international global multilateral institutions, as well as other global investors, are very positively inclined. So quite clearly, in that process, the end goal remains simple, and that end goal will always be to enhance the relationship's basis of the entire relationship, and ensure that under any set of circumstances, the relationship is not derailed or it doesn't face any kind of bumps that are not manageable. As I've been saying right from the word go, that look, in a relationship of this nature, which covers nearly half of the humanity living under the democracies and 1/4 of the total humanity, you will have some kind of thorn on the side. Without the thorn on the side, what kind of a relationship would it be? Because obviously then people, interest groups, businesses, academia are not expressing their interests fully and comprehensively. And nobody wants, between the democracies, that kind of a relationship. And hence, if you have challenges, you also have more pragmatism, more groundedness into the relationship, which can then obviously work to the advantage of both the democracies and their people. So that's the whole idea and the end goal. So I personally, if you ask me, would not want to dwell too much on this tariff aspect of this entire relationship, and then get the whole relationship confined to a small prism, which is probably, as I said, extremely unfair.
Okay. Nikunj, before I let you go, a word also on that meeting which happened between Prime Minister Modi and Elon Musk. The timing cannot be more significant because that's happened. He is the blue-eyed boy of this entire administration, perhaps someone who enjoys the kind of goodwill that he does and has all eyes on his style of functioning. He met Prime Minister Modi hours before the bilateral, which is going to begin a few minutes from now.
Well, absolutely, yes. An interesting combination there. Our full official delegation present, and Mr. Trump there with his entire family present there. At least his younger kids, he was there in the meeting with the Prime Minister. So an interesting combo there. Most probably, Mr. Elon Musk trying to show great regard to the family values that India greatly espouses and India is known for across the world. And on the other side, we had a full official delegation that was in place and quite clearly conveying the business-like approach of the Indian side, trying to ensure that whatever businesses have to be conducted between the two countries, they are conducted in a fair, square, open, transparent manner. Of course, many forget that Mr. Trump and Mr. Elon Musk, they joined hands at the latter stages of the campaign of the Mr. Trump for the second round of his presidency. However, Mr. Musk must be seen as what he really is, a businessman, an innovator, a great tech enthusiast, and somebody who has taken some very, very bold moves, like somebody who has made some very, very bold moves, like taking over X, which was formerly Twitter. So quite clearly, the man has those entrepreneurial abilities, which are extremely welcome in India. He has been a tech innovator, which India would obviously like a lot of innovation on the tech side on Indian shores, and bringing the high-end technology that he has worked all along in like Starlink and Tesla, that India would obviously like to welcome on Indian shores and convey the world a message that India means business, and India has the ability and the capability to absorb any kind of high-end technology, and also any kind of entrepreneurial ability that possibly the world's best businessmen can espouse for, and the spaces that they would want to work in. That's the message that India would want to deliver through those meetings with individuals, entrepreneurs, innovators, and tech czars like Mr. Elon Musk.
Yes.